Hi, this is a short video just showing you how I fitted a bike rack on our 6-metre motorhome. I've decided to fit a bike rack on our Eldis Accordo 125 motorhome. I've priced up with dealers and it's very expensive. Eldis wouldn't release to me the plans for the rear of the vehicle where I can see all the supporting members, so that peed me off a little bit. So I've decided to do it myself. I think I'm perfectly capable of it. Some people might say, what about the water ingress warranty, that sort of thing? Well, we bought the van second hand. It's 3 years old now. When we transferred the warranty, it made the water ingress warranty 6 years instead of 10 years. So we've only actually got 2 years left on it now anyway. And can you actually see them paying out for any water ingress problems? I'm sure Eldis, from experience, will do everything they can not to pay out on that. And I'll seal it as well as anyone will. And after seeing some of the shoddy workmanship that they do, I don't think I'd want them fitting a bike rack for me. So I've got all the stuff. I'll show you round what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you step by step what I've done. I've done a little bit of research with other people that have got a 125, asking them basically about the measurements down to where the supporting members are within the wall. A lot of you might know that the walls are reinforced with wooden battens at certain places. I've established where they are through these people giving me measurements, and I've done some test holes from the inside to make sure I've hit them, and I've found them fine. So yeah, here goes. So this is where I'm going to fit the bike rack. As you can see, our garage is there, so the bike rack does have to be quite high up. So if you look at the top of the garage, the bottom bar is going to be a couple of inches above there, and then if you look to the top, about in line with the Majestic logo is where the top bar is going to be. You can get Fiamma and Thule do a bike rack that lowers down, but they're quite expensive. They're about 700 quid, and I didn't really have the budget for that. They are great. What we are going to have to do is we'll probably have a couple of multi-purpose stools, you know, the little fold-away things that we'll use to lift the bikes up onto the rack. But you know, we'll have to see how that one goes, eh? But yeah, so that's where the holes are going to be on the outside. Is a bit nerve-wracking getting them in the right place and then obviously sealing them. But you know, I'm quite competent with DIY jobs, so I'm sure I'll be fine with this. I'll show you from the inside how I found where the supporting members were. So this is the view from the inside. There is the bike rack, all the bits of it. So I'll be assembling all that later. So I've folded the beds back. You can do that on ours, which is quite a handy feature. Now you can see the garage there, and hopefully you can see the pilot holes I've made. So the bottom three of that group of holes are exactly where the wooden cross member is. As I said, someone sent me the dimensions, or a couple of people did, so I could corroborate them against one another. I've done the same up there, in between the tins of beans and etc. And you can see I've marked where the correct holes are. I got the first one wrong, but then the other three are where the top bar is going to be. So I feel quite confident with that. I've laid all the nuts and bolts out and the instructions, had a good read of the instructions, tried to sort out all the different types of nuts and bolts. I think I've got it established, but as you can imagine, just like with IKEA furniture, the instructions aren't that great. So I'm concentrating on the lower bar to start with, which is there. gives you a little sort of demonstration of the distance apart there that you need to be. So I will be doing that next. So I'm going to start by measuring a centre line in the back, on the back wall there. As I say, it's about an inch above the top of the garage there. So I was a little bit concerned about something which I'll show you now. These covers go over the nuts and bolts when they're on. So sorry about the racket. So they go on to cover the nuts and bolts when it's done, but our bed's there, so I was just a little bit concerned about that. If you can see it, the bed comes down, but there's a couple of millimeters spare, so the bed will still go down. So there's I didn't really need to be concerned there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure a center point, and then it's where the holes have got to be drilled are 65 centimeters and 55 centimeters. So I'll half them and go out from the center point. So I've measured the center line, which is there, and from that I've measured where I'm going to drill there, and then again over there. I've checked and double checked. You know the old saying, measure twice, cut once, or measure twice, drill once in this case. What's going to sit on there, obviously the bracket's going to be on the outside, but that's going to sit on there, and the nuts will tighten it, and then on that will sit these covers, so it'll be nice and neat on the inside. Obviously I'll scrub out all those bits of pencil. Where I made my bradawl marks there, I'll have to tidy that up, but it is hidden by the mattress, so I wasn't too fussed about that. So on to the next stage. I might just measure it on the outside just to make sure that the garage, which is where I've took the measurements from, is actually central. I'm sure it is. And then I'll probably drill the scary bit. So that bottom bit's going to sit about there. I'm just going to lift the garage lid. As you can see, the garage is only going to come up horizontally after that, which is a bit of a bind, but you know, it's the only way we're going to do it really. So I'm just going to measure from the inside just to make sure I've got my measurements right. I'm ready to drill the pilot holes. A little bit nervous, but I've checked and double checked the measurements, and I'm pretty sure I've got it right. So if not, bit of gobbo in the hole afterwards. No, not really. I'm sure I've got it right. Well, that went through a bit scarily quick on the other side, so I hope I ain't caused any damage. I'm sure it'll be fine. So that was okay, came out in the right place. That's just a pilot hole. I'm going to do the other 3 holes for the bottom and then put the bigger drill, the 6.5mm through, and I'll show you when I've done that. So that's the 4 pilot holes done. I'm now going to do the 6.5mm. I thought I'd do it from the outside so I get a better edge. Obviously it's metal on the outside, hardboard on the inside. So I've got the 6.5mm holes drilled, and I've offered up the bolts into the holes and they all go in, which is fine. I'll just show you. I'll pull those out and you'll be able to see that they slide in there. And then obviously before I fasten them on the inside, I'll put some Sikaflex around these holes just to seal them from water ingress. So I've got the bottom brackets on the inside, and just finishes off with these little covers that go on there like that. I won't put it on yet. We'll have a look at the outside, see what I've done out there. That's the bottom bracket fitted. Just going to get on to the top brackets now, which are about just over the Majestic logo. Right, so it's the top brackets now, which are going to be in the back of the food cupboard. So I've marked one just there, and the other one is there. Now, the distance between the two isn't too important, but obviously where the cross member is quite important, because these racks can be fitted 60 centimetres up to 150 centimetres, because these two poles here hook inside each other and you can adjust them. So you know, you might have a window that you need to cover or something like that. So mine works out quite well with where the cross members are. So again, they're 60 wide, which it's 60 from the centre of that hole to the centre of that hole, which tallies up with the two holes on the outside where these pipes go. So I'm going to get on with drilling them now, and I'll show you when I've got the brackets on the outside of there. So these are one of the top brackets. As you can see, that bit where my thumb is goes on the outside, and then that bit is on the inside. Now I've found a bit of a design fault with these. As you can see, a bolt goes through these. Now if you look, they don't, hang on, can you see they don't sit properly? So what I'm going to have to do is, you can see it's catching on there. So I've filed one already. I'm going to have to file a little notch out so they fit on. Very bad design, but anyway, I'll sort that and I'll show you what I've done. So I've had to file little kinks in the heads there in order for them to fit on these brackets. Not a very good design, that, Fiamma. Might even send them this video. I've had to do it on all four of them because they just didn't fit properly. I've done the measurements for the top bracket, and I've made a hole with a brad hole, so I'm going to put a pilot hole in now, then I'm going to put the big hole in, then I'll put the bracket on and I'll let you have a look at it once the bracket's on. Just going to put the main hole through from the inside, from the outside now. Nice and gently. So this is a bracket that's going up the top. I'll put my hand over it. It suggests putting a bit of gobbo on the back, which as I've put two big holes in the top of the van, I think that's a very good suggestion. Just going to do that now. So when I say gobbo, I am actually referring to Sikaflex. So I put some on the holes as well, because I want a good seal. And then I need to slot the nuts in there. This is going to be a bit fiddly. Just hope those nuts go in. We're about to chop a bit of them out, which, as I mentioned, which as I said, was a very bad design fault. Right, so that's got them in. All I need to do now is go to the inside and tighten them up. The holes were not quite level on that one, but I think it'll be fine. Bit of the Sikaflex has come out, but I'll tidy that up. So as the bolts come through, like on the lower one, so I'll just put the cap over, if I can make it fit. There we go. And then I'll put the locking nuts on them and it'll just pull it all in at the same time. Here's the locking nuts that are going to go on there. You can see a bit of the Sikaflex has come through. So just start those off by hand. And then I've got the old ratchet spanner. So all the brackets are on now, inside and out. As I mentioned earlier, there are these things to go on, but at the moment the bolts are too long, so when I get a minute I'll have to cut them shorter, because this thing won't go on because the bolts are so long. It'll be taking into account different thickness motorhomes, so it's only a minor thing, sort that later. We'll just have a quick look at the outside now. Next step is to fit all this lot together. I have had to shorten these by about 10 centimeters. It's what you're meant to do if you don't need it as elongated. Otherwise it won't fit between the brackets. So I've sawn 10 centimeters off both ends. Now I'm going to put it together and I'll show you when I've done that. So that's it roughly put together. Now what I've got to do is hang it on the back of the van, and we'll be able to see then what adjustment needs to be made before I put a securing screw in. Alright, so just putting these little covers on. Now they go on fairly easy. There we go, and I've got to drill a hole through there and then put a bolt through, because I adjusted those. You don't know what it's going to adjust to, so you need to drill a hole through and then put the bolt through. And then we're nearly there. Then I've got to put the lower bit on. Just about finished the fit on the bike rack now. They're the little covers in there behind the beans. And here's the outside finished. It was reasonably easy. It took about a day on my own. Average DIY skills. Just obviously be careful drilling the holes through the body of the van. But I've sealed them with Sikaflex in the appropriate places, as you saw earlier. I'll give you a little showing of it. So there it is. I'm really pleased with it. This pulls down like so. Something just dropped off there, I don't know what it was, but I'll check that. And the garage still opens okay. As you can see, it still opens horizontally. You know, I tend to kneel down when I'm getting stuff out of it anyway, so it won't make a lot of difference to me. But needs must. I couldn't really have got it any higher because of where the support struts are in the back, so you do have to be careful of that. But I'm pleased with it. Hope that was useful for you. It cost me £209 from Toshaw. Didn't need anything else, just standard tools. You do need some of those star screwdriver things, a T20 size I think. Fortunately I had one, so that wasn't a problem. It is a little bit difficult distinguishing all the different nuts and bolts, so it's worth spending half an hour just checking through them, measuring them and making sure you're using the right one for the right bit. I've had to get a couple of extra locking nuts for some reason. There didn't seem to be enough. Yeah, if you like that video, please give us a like. Please feel free to subscribe to us, and hopefully if I get any other little projects like this again, I will do a video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.